Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Friday evening concert. I'm remaining in the dark for the minute. You never know what happens when we switch on the lights in these live concerts. Sometimes the entire world loses power. Sometimes it works. Let's find out. Mrs. Gartshore, give me some light, please. Ugh. Good evening. Hello, how are you? Welcome back. It's Friday night. Friday night is organ music night. And my goodness, we've got a lot of people watching online already. And I must say a very warm welcome and thank you for tuning in to, Vanessa, picture please, my good friend, Mr. Wayne Marshall, organ royalty himself, the legend that is Mr. Wayne Marshall. Wayne and I spent quite a while this afternoon having a chat. And that chat was recorded for you, and that will be coming up on the channel very, very soon. Now this is amazing because Wayne is actually in Holland at the moment, performing with an orchestra. He's conducting and playing solo piano with an orchestra. And yeah, he took the time out to have a little chat to us. There's a little shot of us on the screen there, having a real laugh, the two of us together. We had a great time. And Wayne has actually joined us in this evening's live stream. Wayne, you should be enjoying the after-concert party, not listening to this organ music stuff. Go and have fun with your Dutch friends, and we will see you again soon, soon, soon. So, yes, there you are. So, yes, that's coming up on the channel very soon, an interview with the legendary Mr. Wayne Marshall. And this is maybe going to become a regular feature on the channel. Sort of chit-chats and interviews, sort of podcast kind of thing. I think that's the kind of idea. Now, who else is there? Jerry is there. Hello, Jerry. Jerry Martin, you all know Jerry, and you remember Jerry from my last video where I interviewed, or not interviewed, I did my question and answer where everyone asked me the questions, and I answered them, and I got my YouTube colleagues to do the same for me. So Jerry was there, James was there, James Flores. James is also live with us this evening. Hey James, look, I'm drinking Australian brew this evening. This isn't a beer, this is a ginger beer, Bundaberg. Is that even a thing in Australia? It's a big thing here in Germany, Australian ginger beer. Is that anything? So anyway, here it is. This is for the Australians under there. So there we have that. That's rather exciting, very tasty. And after a very healthy, big evening meal, that's just the thing to wash it all down. Now, we've had a lot of requests. And thank you for putting in the request. I think this is the thing now. Everyone just adds their request half an hour before the show starts, which means I don't have any time to prepare whatsoever. But that's fine. We can get away with that. And I've written down a few of them, so the requests that came in the last half hour or so. And I'm going to do them in the style of what's coming up very soon. Now, you know, in the last couple of weeks, I've mentioned my new CD project, our new recording project that we're doing at the moment. And time is running out on our crowdfunding campaign. So I thought what I'd do this evening is I'd show you the kind of things we're going to be doing. Not obviously exactly what we're doing, because that's very exclusive, but the kinds of things that people have requested, the kinds of things that people are going to do. So I think Mrs. Gartshore is going to put up a link to the crowdfunding page. It should zip on the screen as we speak. Is it on the screen as we speak? Warte. Is it on the screen? It is on the screen as we speak. There we are. And I think she's put it up as a pinned message on the chat, so you can go and click it and check it out. Go and check out the site. It tells you all the details about it. But the idea is I'm going to show you this evening the kinds of things that we're talking about. Now, I saw someone requested something prog rock style. Is that right? Prog rock. Someone said that? If you find it, let me know who it was. Someone requested, or if you're still watching, let me know who it was. Prog rock. That is actually one of the requests someone had for the CD, so that's kind of cool. So let's see if we can work something out later. I've got a few surprises coming up as well. But something that somebody requested tonight is a rather wonderful hymn, if I can find it here in my wonderful hymn book. There it is, number 405 in the new German Gotteslob. You know it as Nun danket alle, sorry?
Günther.
Oh, it was Günther from Castellaun. Hello, Günther from Castellan. Günther wanted something in the prog rock style. I'm sure we can work that out. Pooh. Okay. Somebody wanted Nun danket. Oh, that's our friend Pandomito. Pandomito is great. He's been with us from the beginning in the live streams, and he's the guy sort of watching the screen in the background and writing in the registrations for you. So let's see if we can keep that up. Now, Pandomito wanted something around the style, around the tune, sorry, Nun danket alle God. Now thank we all our God. Normally a Protestant hymn, but of course it's worked its way into the international hymnals. And yes, I think we can have some fun with that. It's a kind of a march, isn't it? So let's load the organ into march mode and play something around Nun danket alle God. Now thank we all our God. This is for Pandomito, and this is the kind of thing we're going to be doing in the new recording. Right, lights, camera, action, here we go. A brief march in the style of, I've no idea, in the style of someone who does march music, on the lovely sound, or the lovely theme, sorry, Now Thank We All Our God. My mother-in-law is watching, I better behave myself. Hello, mother-in-law. Yes, so there we have it. Right. Yes, by the way, we are on Nancy this evening, the wonderful, wonderful organ in Nancy Cathedral, that wonderful, absolutely amazing sample set by the legendary Piotr Grabowski. It's absolutely wonderful, and I've reset the organ since I last played it. Don't know if you've noticed that. I've changed the mixes, and I'm not going to show you what I did. It's a big secret. Samuel Sleeth. Samuel has always been asking, yeah, you can put in a request. See if you can get the request in before the show starts, because I do sort of put a program together. But we can, of course, still be very spontaneous. That's the plan. Now, Stefan B is next on the list, and Stefan B, or Stefan B in German, has asked for a wonderful piece of music here, and I'm going to do something rather naughty with it. Now, I don't mean naughty in the style of jazzy, I mean naughty in the style of, oh my God. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. Let me have a sip of my tasty Australian beverage. Cheers. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Now, Stefan has requested a hymn called Gegrucet seist du Königin, O Maria. That's one of our Maria hymns, a rather wonderful one. And actually, let me get a sensible registration here. Let me play the hymn to you. Sorry, did I say a sensible registration? That was pretty over the top, wasn't it? I don't think I could accompany my congregation with that kind of sound. Sounds wonderful in this French organ. Now, while we're on a French organ, how about, and I've never done this in public before, at least not YouTube public, but how about something in the rather bizarre and wonderful way some of the French cathedral organists like to improvise, and this is going to be a little way out there. At least I'm going to try and make it a little way out there. So a warning, it's going to be very loud. It's going to be bloody loud, in fact, so warning. At least it's going to start off that way. So yes, get ready for some fun harmonies and get ready for some rather weird effects. At least that's the plan. Let's see if I can pull this off. I was having a chat to my friend Jerry, and I think I mentioned this to James as well. And I was talking about the wonderful world of Pierre Pinsemaille, who was organist in Saint-Denis in Paris for years before he sadly died a couple of years ago. And he was the world's best improviser, hands down. No one could do it better than he did. And he did sort of follow a kind of pattern with his improvisations. And I'm going to try to emulate that a little bit. Nothing as amazing as he could ever have pulled off. And yes, but I'm just going to try. Bear with me. Get ready, it starts in a very loud way. that almost worked the way I wanted it. Not quite, there were a few things missing there. I don't know if you spotted what I did there, by the way. I hope you don't mind me showing you some of these trade secrets there. Our friend Pierre would always start his improvisations with some sort of weird, some sort of bizarre, to sort of scare the pants off the audience, basically. And then in the middle of some sort of huge chord like this, he would swap to some kind of weird sort of something like that in the left hand, and then get the fluty sound going. Lots of sort of augmented sounds and weird stuff, just to sort of lull the audience into a sense of before immediately back to and all that kind of stuff. And then he would sort of meander about in a variety of different registrations until he got to sort of a very typical French thing, where he would have sort of a pretty much full plenum on the organ. And then in the middle of all that, the melody would suddenly appear in the pedals. Can't really hear it in this organ much, but and you have a melody in the pedals, normally with a reed stop, and then your accompaniment on the full organ there somewhere, kind of thing. And then playing around with different styles. I didn't have time to set up the organ the way I wanted it to, so otherwise I'd have had all those wonderful weird and crazy effects that he liked to use. So something for the future, I dare say. Oh, someone has, what's that? RSD? Is that South African again? Not sure. Someone's donated something to the channel. 1200 RSD. 1200 always sounds amazing. Wouldn't that be great if that was euros? My goodness, that would be wonderful. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Thank you very much. What's RSD? Is that South African? Do please let me know again. Actually, if that is South Africa, at some point I'm going to introduce you, the world, to my South African great aunt, who is of course no longer with us, she died years ago, but a rather eccentric old lady who spent much of her time in South Africa and did quite a lot of good while she was there, but more on that in a future chit-chat video. Right, time for a drink and then time for some music. Actually, while we're it's not South African at all. It's from Serbia. Oh my goodness me, Serbia. Oh, Samuel seemed to notice that as well. Serbian dinar. 1200 Serbian dinar. That's probably not very. I don't know. It's 10 euros. Hey, pretty cool. Thank you very much indeed. That's very good. Jeffrey Howard, don't drop the beer on the keys. No, don't worry. It's quite safe beside the keys. Right. Get rid of that book and then get another book out. Now, I'm going to do something I promised we'd do last week. And for this, I need to load up a different organ. So while that's doing that, let me talk to you. Last week, we had a survey. And the survey was, I would learn a piece of music for this week's concert. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm actually going to do this. Learn a piece of music for this week's concert, and we had the option of a piece of music by Bach or Vierne or Widor, and in the hope that it would be Vierne or Widor, I just sort of let people get on with it. But as it turns out, Bach won the day. Oh, and you know me, I love the music of Bach, but I'm not a Bach player at all. Don't know why. It's a form of sort of dyslexia I have, I think. Counterpoint scares me. So anyway, so I decided to learn a proper piece of music by Bach this week. Now, that was the plan. And bear with me. That was the plan. Last week on Saturday, darf ich das erzählen? Last week on Saturday, my wife and I were working in the garden, as you do. And while we were working in the garden, we decided that one of our trees, it's a fig tree that she recently got as a gift from her mother, in other words, my mother-in-law, and it's an enormous fig tree, and there was one sort of branch hanging off the side that we thought, let's cut that off, saw that off, and tidy it up a bit before the winter. So we did. Got the saw out, started sawing away, and as the branch was about to come to the end of sawing it, Mrs. Gartshore's thumb slipped and got caught as the saw went through the branch or out the other end of the branch, and it basically went right through her thumb from the top pretty much to the middle, slicing pretty much an entire lump of thumb off. I had to cancel my Saturday evening service because we immediately went, of course, to accident and emergency to get the thumb sorted. And because we'd sawed it so badly, they couldn't sew it back together, so they had to sort of glue it back together. This is the wonderful modern world of medicine. They glued the thumb back together and taped it all up and did all that sort of stuff. And only today has she been able to sort of remove the bandages and the tapes to have a look at it. And let me tell you, I'm not going to show you a picture of it. It's awful. It's Frankenstein's thumb. I think that's the only way to describe it. I hope you don't mind me saying that. She's laughing in the background. Okay. It literally is Frankenstein's thumb. It looks awful. So I've been looking after Mrs. Gartshore all this week, which means I've been doing everything. She's not allowed to do any form of, any form of anything. She's got to be still and keep it from doing things. She can't bend her thumb at all, obviously, because it would all open up again. Absolutely disgusting. Why am I telling you this? Well, I'm telling you this because I didn't have as much time to practice my Bach as I wanted. But I decided I would practice. And this is again, going back to my friend Jerry, I would practice, here it is, I would practice Bach's G Major Prelude. Not the fugue, just the Prelude. That one. And yes, this was new to me completely. Jerry played it recently in a video of his where he talked about the intricacies of Hauptwerk and how it all works. And I thought, yeah, that's a wonderful, cute piece of music. It's a very happy-go-lucky piece of music. That's the kind of thing I could do. So I dug out the music. It was either going to be that or the B Minor Prelude. And of course, the B Minor Prelude is very long. So I didn't quite get all of the B Minor Prelude done the way I wanted it to. That was the one it was going to be. And then yesterday, it dawned on me that it was Thursday and I need to get this learnt. So I sat at the organ for 2.5 hours yesterday, last night, and learnt the Prelude in G by Bach. And I think I even managed to memorize it. So what I'm going to do, because I can't get Vanessa to come and turn pages for me because her left thumb is nothing for the public, and I wouldn't want to have her flicking music around. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try it from memory. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. And if it all goes wrong, I'll get the music out and do it properly. But I've put the music on the middle pages. It's split here over 5 pages? Yeah, split over 5 pages in the Bach Urtext edition. And I'm going to put it on the middle pages, just in case. There's a couple of points in there that I'm still not sure I've got memorized. So, ladies and gentlemen, you wanted it. I'm going to do it. This is Bach's Prelude in G, hopefully from memory, on a new organ. This is the organ of Oberfellach, which is, again, a Grabowski organ, but it's an absolutely delightful Baroque organ, or a Baroque sounding organ, that is, it lives in South Austria, down near the Italian border, in the Alps, and it's wonderful. And for those of you who really know your stuff, I've changed the tuning of the organ. We're not using the mean tempered that it would have been. I've decided to choose a different kind of tuning that fits to a Northern Italian organ of the time. So, enough talk, let's give it a go. G major from memory. I hope this works. If it doesn't, you can kill me later. Oh, that almost worked. That almost worked. Whew. There's that annoying bit in the middle where it sort of goes all over the place in the hands that didn't quite work from memory. But was that bad? I wasn't sure. I was so concentrated I didn't know what was going on there. Whew. So there we are. That was a bit of Bach for you. Let me show you just briefly how I go about practicing that sort of stuff. What I like to do, actually I've set up the organ that way anyway. What I like to do is I have the pedal, because learning Bach is all about learning the different lines. And learning the different lines, as anyone will tell you, was all about learning the left hand and the pedals together. And the idea is, if you sort of, if you get the left hand doing something really quiet and the pedal doing something very loud, then you can sort of, you can sort of concentrate on what the pedals are doing, and that kind of helps you split it up. That's the way I work anyway. So for example, after all that, where is it? And that kind of thing. So, these runs in the pedals. To get that, nice and clean, then you sort of concentrate on what your left hand is doing, let the pedals do it all by themselves, reverse it in your brain, concentrate on the left hand, let the pedals run, or then concentrate on the right hand, let the pedals run, concentrate the pedals, let the left hand, all that kind of stuff. And eventually you sort of glue it all together, much like the surgeons glued Vanessa's thumb together. So yes, and that's how I went about learning that very quickly, and almost learning it by memory in 24 hours, basically. So yes, I will get round to learning the fugue to that as well, but the fugue, I discovered as I looked at it, is basically a trio sonata, and that's too scary for me. So at some point I will get round to learning the fugue, and yes, we will work on that. I hope you enjoyed that little piece of Bach. Now I am going to work on the B minor, like I said. Because that's an absolutely wonderful sort of romantic piece of Bach. I think that's rather wonderful. Now, yeah, that's enough of that. Let me, where is it? Oh, I think it's this one actually. Yes, it is. While we're on this lovely little organ here, this Oberfellach organ, I think it's time to do a piece of jazz for this evening, don't you? Because jazz on a Baroque organ is just the most bizarre thing in the world. And it works rather wonderfully, at least I think it does. It's got a very crisp sound to it. So here's possibly the most unsuited piece of music for a church organ. I'm not going to give it a title, I'm just going to play it, and hope you enjoy it. This is for Graham Twist, actually. Graham loves a bit of jazz on a classical organ. So Graham, if you're still here, this is definitely for you. Oh, someone else has donated something. Who was that? Oh, James donated something. Thank you, James. Ginger beer is on me. Here it is. I'm not getting very far with this. And Ivan Santrizos also. Thank you very much, Ivan, or Ivan. Thank you. Oh, I'm exhausted after that. Hence the need for a bit of jazz. Listen to this. Haha, that's better. I can do that all night long. That's much more like it. Sweet Georgia Brown was correct. That was Sweet Georgia Brown given the Baroque organ treatment. I bet no one's ever played a piece of music called, well, a piece of music about a person such as Sweet Georgia Brown on a Baroque organ in the south of Austria. Or anywhere else in the world for that matter. My goodness. Right. Yes, now this is also the kind of stuff that's going to appear on the new CD, which is rather amusingly called Fraser Gartshore's Organ Works, which is the play on words. It can mean a couple of things, but let's ignore that. Now, I'm going to take you, Ginger Bee is doing its thing. I'm going to take you to the third organ for this evening. Yes, and we're going now south of the border, we're going to Italy. South of the Austrian border. We're going over the border and we're going down to Alessandria, which is, I'm not going to say my favorite, but I do think it's Piazza's most versatile sampled organ. It's a wonderful instrument, 3-manual instrument with all sorts of goodies, including the most amazing tuba, which you will hear in a minute. And sorry, let me take these headphones off for a second. The Alessandria organ is great. It sounds like, if you want it to, it can sound like an Italian organ. If you want it to, it can sound like a French organ. If you want it to, it can sound like an English organ. It can do anything you want. It's absolutely wonderful. Cheers. And it's rather amazing. And while it's loading, it always takes a while, let me dig out the next piece of music. Oh, I know what we'll do, yes. Wolfgang König. I think Wolfgang is in Munich, is that right? Wolfgang is down in Munich, and Wolfgang asked for a piece of music that I cannot name for copyright reasons, but I'm going to hide the melody well in there. You will recognize it if you know the melody. You will recognize it at some point, but I'm going to keep it well hidden for copyright reasons. So let's get the old headphones back on. Yes. Come on, there we go. And it's already set up at the right registration. How perfect is that? Yes, we start there. Oh, PNF. Hello, PNF. Thank you, Fraser and Mrs. Gartshore, for these live concerts every Friday. You don't need to say Mrs. Gartshore. You can use her name. It's Vanessa. I greatly appreciate the beautiful music and interesting discussions after the work day. Thank you. Your channels are very fun, and I recommend them to many. Thank you. We need recommendations. Recommend around the world. The more recommendations, the better. Right, I'm going to remove Bach from the music stand there, so I can keep an eye on what's going on here. That looks a bit cleaner now, doesn't it? Right, this is for Wolfgang, and it's a Scottish piece of music, but not written by a Scottish person. There you are. I won't say any more than that. This is also the kind of thing that's going to appear on the new CD, he said, pointing you in the direction of our Start Next link. That was a long one. That's been a number that's been requested a few times in the past few weeks, and I've sort of avoided playing it, like I said, for copyright reasons. But I managed to squeeze it in there in a kind of hidden way. It's a piece of music that's its title involves a large church in the north of Scotland, if you know what I mean. So I think where I come from, actually, my first proper organ when I was young, and the choir I used to sing in was that of Inverness Cathedral. Inverness being the capital of the Highlands in Scotland. You work out the rest. Right, thank you very, very much. I think it's time we had a bit of fun again, don't you? Now, we've had another request. Let me see if I can find it here. Actually, this isn't the kind of, no, that's not the kind of music you should be having fun with. So let's load up a different registration here, and I think the one we want is this one. Yes. Now this, like I said, this organ is rather wonderful. You can do everything with it, including play some jazzy stuff on it. And I think it's time for a piece of music in a minor key. I won't name it, but you might recognize it. Ooh. Yeah, isn't that the most amazing tuba you've ever heard in the world? I hope that's coming across all right in the live stream, all that sound. It's deafening in here, I'll tell you that, but I'm an organist, so we're going deaf anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's almost time to run up this evening's program for the rest of the night. Now, at the very beginning this evening, I played a piece of music that was requested by Daniel Heinrich. Hello, Daniel. Daniel and a few other people requested it in the last couple of weeks as well, so I hope you recognized it. It was sort of a little bit of Abide with me, or Bleibe bei uns, as it's called in the German hymnal. It's in here as well now. And it's a rather nice piece of music. Yes, how are we going to close off this evening's concert? How about a piece of music with... Oh, by the way, was that Gershwin? Someone just said, yes, it was. That was very loosely based on a piece of music from Porgy and Bess by Gershwin called It Ain't Necessarily So. Cheers. Yeah. By the way, this is ginger beer. There's no alcohol involved. I haven't touched a drop in years. I'm very healthy these days for my sins. Last week we closed off the concert with a rather wonderful piece of music, one of the best Maria hymns in the book, and I think we'll close off tonight with another one of those, a rather lovely one of those. And I need to quickly change the registrations here again so I know roughly what I'm doing. This organ has the most amazing sort of crescendo and decrescendo possibilities, not just because we have a swell pair. Oh, by the way, Pandomito is always sort of... Where did that come from? Is always following along with the registrations on this organ. And you said for a while you thought there was something on the grate. Well, the grate is the bottom manual. I set up my Hauptwerk organs the way they're supposed to be. So on the Alessandria organ, the Hauptwerk, the Grand Org, the Grande Organo, is the bottom manual. So I set it up. Why is there nothing there? There it is. So I always have it set up like that. So I have the Grande Organo, then the positive, and then the swell. That's the way I have them set up, the way they should be. Imagine if you set up your organs all the time, you had the grate in the middle, positive underneath, and the swell on top, like you would in a standard, shall we say, British or American organ. And then you went to Italy on holiday and got to see the Alessandria organ. Well, you can't then suddenly say, oh, I want the grate in the middle, please. Can't do that. So I do it the way they're supposed to be, which means on the Nancy organ, the French organ we started with this evening, the swell is the fourth manual, which is miles away. And then there's the bombard, and then the grate, and then the positive. But other French organs would have the bottom manual as the grate, and so on and so on and so on. So I always leave them the way they're supposed to be, and sort of adjust my playing accordingly. It's much more sensible, because if you are out and about in the real world, you definitely want to play the organs the way they're supposed to be played. Now then, to finish off this evening's magnificent selection of music. I don't mind saying that myself. You chose the music, I didn't. So thank you for that. Don't forget, get your requests in early. That gives me time to practice and give me time to sort of think about these things and play around with them. One of the requests we had for our Start Next project, for our CD project, sorry, not Start Next. Start Next is our crowdfunding campaign. One of the requests we had was a piece of music in a sort of Latin American style, based around one of the most famous hymn tunes in the world, believe it or not. And I thought this might be a nice idea to do something on this organ in a sort of Latin American style around one of the oldest Maria tunes in the hymn book. This is probably very sacrilegious, but seeing as the Maria hymns and Maria in general is very much celebrated in the Spanish-speaking communities of this world, then how about the tune Zegna Do Maria? That's a very good, fun German hymn tune that you can make it sound like an Elgar march. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. I'll bump the organ up, we'll do an Elgar march with it. And then I'll turn it into a piece of sort of Latin American music. That's the idea. And like I say, this is the kind of stuff that was requested for the new CD. So if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, then go and check out Start Next. The link is still at the top of the chat there. And there's only, how many days left? Wie viele Tage noch? 16. There's only 16 days left on our Start Next campaign. That's our crowdfunding thing for the CD. And if in those 16 days we don't get the start sum together, there is no project. Money goes back to everybody, and that's a shame. You can pre-order a CD or a download and a CD, etc., etc. There are different things there. It sort of works up from the bottom. You can do a download only. That's the sort of the digital version of it. Then you can get a CD, signed CD, and you always get the download with that as well. Or you can get the book of music, because these are compositions. So you get the book of music and the CD and the download code. You get everything sort of thing. And don't forget, the music books are very exclusive. They are just for this project at the moment. In the future, individual pieces will be available in music form. But the book is very exclusive. So behind the scenes stories, who these pieces have been composed for, why they chose them, etc., etc. And yeah, Christmas is coming. Don't forget. Enough of that. Right, back in a minute. Here is this piece of music. So first of all, Zegna Do Maria in the style of Elgar. And I think Elgar would have had a lot of fun with that composition. He would have harmonized it pretty much like that, I think. That's not the way most organists in Germany harmonize that, but I thought I would do it like that. It's rather wonderful. Right, let's turn that into something of a Latin American style. cha-cha-cha. Ladies and gentlemen, that was this evening's concert. We've hit the 1.5 hour mark. Thank you very much for being here tonight. We have a lot of exciting things coming up on the channel. Over the weekend, you will have my interview chit-chat session with the legendary, the wonderful Wayne Marshall, who was actually here for the concert this evening. Thank you, Wayne, for joining in. It's great to have someone like that. Everyone thinks these sort of concert organists from around the world are the most inaccessible people around there. Not true. Wayne is just an absolute legend. It's the only way to describe him. And wonderful, down-to-earth guy. You can spend weeks and days talking to Wayne about music and life and everything in general. It's absolutely wonderful. And we spent well over an hour this afternoon chatting and actually recording our chat, and that's going to be condensed down into a YouTube video over the weekend. So get ready for that. Now, Halloween is coming up, and we're going to have a sort of a Halloween theme live stream. That's going to be in 2 weeks' time on the 29th. So if you have any scary requests, then get them in now. We're going to have one of those. And we've got something very exciting planned for the Christmas period, the run-up to Christmas, but more on that in November. That's going to be rather exciting. And yes, so there we have it. That was this evening's concert. Thank you very, very much indeed. Thank you to Vanessa for pressing buttons and moving things around the screen and not switching the organ off in the middle of it this week. I'm going to be in trouble in a minute. If you weren't there for last week's one, there was an accidental press of a button and everything went off, which was rather wonderful. So yeah, work that one out. Thank you for your support. I saw during the course of this evening's video, a few people have very kindly donated towards the channel and towards our live stream concerts. Thank you very much. If you do like what you have heard this evening, it's always great to know that you've enjoyed it, and a number of people like to say thank you, and we are very, very grateful for that. So thank you very, very much indeed. And like I say, if you haven't already, go and check out the link that's stuck at the top there about our new CD project. Time is getting tight, and as someone said that before. Who said that? Someone said, come on folks, let's get it in there, or no CDs for anybody, no recordings for anybody. Yes, we do want to get this done, and these things do cost a lot of money. Unfortunately, production costs are not the lowest, and Corona seems to have put all prices up really high. It's much more expensive than last time, which is rather weird. Anyway, can't change that. That's life. Thank you very, very much indeed. We'll see you over the weekend with some new videos, and at the very latest, see you next Friday evening for our live concert. Don't forget, every Friday night is Organ Music Night. Mrs. G, bist du bereit mit dem Bild? That was it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. We will see you next time. Take care and bye-bye for now.